you went into the classroom and the teacher spoke to you, you always addressed him as sir or miss. There was never any, very seldom was your first name was never used. If you was Tom Smith, it would be Smith, stand up and recite after me. And there's a lot of difference, I think there's an enormous lot of difference between education today and
well, when my father went to school, he said you could put your hand up to answer a question, but there's no guarantee to get it back. So some people might look back in the older days as actually full of brutality.
Absolutely no. Brutality, no. Discipline, yes. I mean, a cane didn't do any of us in this room, I suppose, any harm whatsoever. If you got it on your hand or you got it on your behind, if you misbehaved, you knew that was a punishment. You knew that was going to come, you know. You didn't, there was no twos and throws. It was just, how many on that hand, how many at that hand? And will I be able to sit down after I've had this?
I remember the needlework teacher, and the needlework teacher, we suddenly got an electric sewing machine. But the needlework teacher had no idea how to use an electric sewing machine, and the thing was that my mother was a machinist, and of course she'd already taught me that. And they came out and got me out of my PE lesson to go and teach the teacher how to use the sewing machine, an electric sewing machine, the first time we had it in school, which was literally just after the war. But I was in school before the war, you know, as the war started. I was, I mean, we didn't, it's not like school today, and it certainly wasn't like school. How lovely this is.
Yeah, what do you think of this building?
I think it's wonderful. I think it's absolutely amazing. The facilities and the chances they've got. It's wonderful, I think.
Yeah, facilities.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I think, yeah, because when I was at school, we'd have our lessons, and then we wanted to do metal work or woodwork. We would then have to go 3 or 4 miles to another school, a more modern school, and carry on there. But we didn't go by bus. We all walked in our lunch break, and it was good because we communicated more as children because we did that, and it was very beneficial.
Are you amazed by the range of subjects as well? I know I was brought up in the 70s, and I think there was about 10 subjects, so to speak. You know,
it's vast, isn't it? You look at the board out there, there's probably, what, 40, 50 GCE subjects you can do. And I asked one of the students, I said, what's the most popular? And he said PE, because everybody has to do PE. But, yeah.
I like the relationship between the staff and the children, because personally I was very scared at school. I found the teachers very overpowering and dominating. I actually hated going to school. I didn't just hate Monday morning, I hated Tuesday, Wednesday and the rest of it as well. But I love the way these teachers communicate with the children, and I love the way the children communicate with the teachers too. I'm a great one for discipline, but I also think that you need to have a certain amount of friendliness there as well, because if you don't, the child then becomes frightened to ask, and if you're frightened to ask, then you don't get your answers.
And some would also say that if you're at the school in the evenings, you'll see that the staff, when the bell goes at the end of the day, they're still here for hour upon hour.
That's
it's
right.
not like the old days of the Harper Street.
No.
It's like the Formula 1 Grand Prix in the old days, wasn't
Yes,
it?
it was. Yes, it was. Everybody out the door, first for the bus and on the way home. I mean, I don't know what it's like here, and it's a question I haven't asked about school uniform. I liked school uniform. I think it's a good idea. I think it's a great leveller. But I know that we weren't allowed to remove we had to wear a beret, and we weren't allowed to remove that beret all the time we were wearing any other part of our school uniform. So we had to wait till we were actually indoors before we could take any of it off. And that, I think, sometimes was a bit harsh.
But one good point I think Mr Tomlinson was saying last week at a presentation about the proposed sixth form centre is the students would come dressed in either in suits or in shirts, saying, well, Canary Wharf is over there.
That's right.
That's a very good point, isn't it?
Yes, very much so. Yes.
Okay.
So it wasn't until after the war, coming back to school, that you was ruled by fear, I think. We had one teacher open the cupboard in and have 6 canes, all different sizes. And my time was a bit frightened of teachers at the time. And I think I was about 10 when I started learning, you know, schooling properly.
And you've seen the young girl dancing, you've seen the student performing, you're about to get a lesson. Do students seem much more confident now than they did in your day?
Yeah, and I think the teachers help as well. They're so friendly and understanding, you know, and I think they're good teachers here, very good.
I think it's a respect to her, isn't there?
Yeah.
What about criticism that people say that exams are getting easier? And that's a lazy media line?
So I never read any exams, so I wouldn't know.
No, I did. I used to have exams and I had that fear. But no, I think it's a lovely school. I'm very, very impressed. Very impressed. And with the children, the behaviour, and I think it's lovely.
And the facilities as well, the sports facilities for one. And everything, the opportunities that they've got is fantastic, really. Yeah.
Computers.
Yeah, but that's the technology.
Yes, but I mean, there's also, you need to use your brain as well as computer. I mean, computers, you know.
And calculators.
And calculators. I mean,
it's not the way to do it.
You know, we never used to have calculators and computers, and you know what I mean. We used to have to use our brain.
I think you're right, because there's been a check-up once. If the big break breaks down, they wouldn't know how to give you change properly.
That's right. I mean, we asked a couple of the students, and they didn't even know the difference in old money to today's money, which is definitely. Well, I think they should know both, don't you?
Well, it's a bit of history.
It's a bit of history, isn't it?